Yo, what is good, yo? It's your boy Tom back here with another video. Now, I know about a couple months ago I did make a couple IRL NBA basketball tier lists that I got absolutely fried for. But the good thing is, second chances for everything. So I'm going to be going over the top 40 players in the NBA on a tier list, ranking them S through D. Nate, my brother, is going to be here with us today. Now, we did get this list from somebody already online of just the top 40 players. So if anybody is left on this list, don't blame us. We're just going off of this list because it looked pretty somewhat accurate of the top 40 players. So if somebody's not on this list, that doesn't mean they're not a top 40 players, but we are just going to rank the people on this list. So, Nate, is your first player Kawhi Leonard?
Yeah, yep, it's Kawhi.
So, I mean, I think it's pretty obvious to me, at least. I personally think Kawhi is a top 5 player in the NBA. Would you agree or disagree with that statement?
I think he's top 5. I have him. Oh, we got LeBron. Do you think Giannis is better than Kawhi?
I think it's pretty close.
I mean, I don't even think Kawhi played that bad in the playoffs.
As a whole in the playoffs or even the NBA, but I didn't think he was that bad. Now, the last game, obviously, he didn't play that well, but, I mean, you got to look at what Paul George, I mean, he wasn't much. So, yeah, I have Kawhi and S, no doubt about it. Agreed. Next player,
you got Harden,
James Harden here, and I mean, I don't see any way I can't put him in S as well. I truly don't. I don't know.
Harden's an S tier player too. I think you're gonna see a pretty clear cutoff from S to A when we do make that. I mean, maybe it won't be as clear as I think. I think the guys in S tier are going to be those one step ahead of guys, the guys that can be your best player in an NBA championship team, and I think James Harden can be if he has the right team around him. Now it would take a better team for Harden than it would for a Kawhi or LeBron, maybe by a smidge, but I still think Harden can easily be the best. Not easily, but he can be the best player in a championship team.
And I agree. You just gotta find the right pieces around him. And I don't know. It's hard because Russell Westbrook played so badly in the playoffs.
But if you look a couple years ago, he almost was the best player in a championship team when Houston.
Yeah, you're right.
Had a very good shot at beating Golden State.
You're right. You're definitely right.
That's why I think he's S tier, league MVP. I don't think there's any reason you would put him below that. This next guy.
I have no idea where to put him. I don't know. Where am I supposed to put a guy like Russell Westbrook? I mean, what is it? Is it a big enough sample size in the playoffs? And just seeing how bad he was, not being able to knock down an open jump shot, turning the ball over a ton. I don't know where to put him. I truly have no idea.
I think what you have to do look and see who we have on this list, right? Because all these guys are obviously great players, so they're not actual D tier players, but where do they rank within this top 40 is what you got to ask yourself.
And that's why, and it's hard because it's like, how does Russell Westbrook compare to, let's say, a guy like later on in the list, we got a guy like, Kyle Lowry. How do you compare him? Or Jamal Murray? It's just John Morant even. How am I supposed to compare them? It's hard to. I don't know. I don't know what to do with Russ.
It is, and a lot of people are going to have recency bias as well, where they're going to maybe over hype a player that's played very well recently and under hype a player who hasn't played as well recently. But I've never been a big fan of Russell Westbrook. He's a very tough player to rank.
And it's like even the way Russ plays. I'm not saying he's old, but when he ages, he's going to lose that explosiveness. I just have a hard time seeing Russ go getting any truly better in his career. That's kind of where I'm seeing Russell Westbrook.
Oh, where did you put him?
Right now, I got him at C, but I have no idea.
I have him in C as well, but we can adjust that. I think C's fine for him.
Next guy, Jimmy Butler, and I don't think this is as clear-cut as some may think. I don't think it's clear-cut at all. I'm in between two positions, honestly. I'm going to put him here just because, he's been he's been doing his thing, and then I could vouch for something else. Where do you have Jimmy just off of your first instinct?
Putting him in A.
That's where I had him, and that's honestly because of what he's done in Miami. Just been very, very impressive, and just throughout the playoffs. Obviously, his career has been impressive as well. But if he's A, and then you look back to last year's Philadelphia team, it's a shame that Philly didn't. And I mean, you could say that they were one shot away from with the Raptors series or whatever, but that Philly team should have done more, in my opinion. But no doubt about it, Jimmy Butler is absolutely incredible.
And I think with Jimmy, I mean, I got tired of hearing Mark Jackson the entire finals saying Jimmy Butler needs to shoot the ball and take over. No, that's not the type of player Jimmy Butler is. He's a very good facilitator. He's a very good scorer, but he's not a guy that just he's not a volume scorer like that. And especially in the NBA finals, you need a guy who can get other guys involved, especially the young guys, all the young guys that Miami has. I think it was very important for Jimmy to try to instill confidence in those guys because he needed those guys that they wanted to have a shot even.
Jimmy Butler obviously has never been, the James Harden type scorer or anything like that, And how many times in the NBA Finals did he put up a triple-double, really do it? It was a great in the NBA Finals, no doubt about it. And in games, he did take over. What was it? Game 5? I don't remember what game it is, but he took over a little bit in one of the games. So he does have that ability, but with Miami, he got a lot of people involved as well. So I think A is a perfect spot for Jimmy Buckets. Hopping into the next player here, Luka Doncic. For me, I don't have any question about it. I truly don't.
I don't either.
You got him in S?
No, I got him in S. I have him on a basically same level as a Harden or a Kawhi. He can be that same type of guy that he can be the best player on a championship team.
Absolutely agree. Now I got a lot of heat for saying Luka was a top 5 player in my last rankings video. And maybe I went a little too far in saying that, but if you just watch what he can do, it's crazy. And just think, wasn't it his second year in the league? And it's gonna be only up from here for Luka. And I couldn't be. He's one of the guys I'm most excited just to see continue grow, develop his game.
Yeah, and kind of like Jimmy, him and Jimmy are. And even a James Harden in there as well. 3 of the best guys in NBA history at knowing how to use their body in changing speeds and very deceptive players.
Definitely. All 3, in my opinion, are super, super smart players, heady players, and just like you said, have just changed kind of the way people play basketball, A lot of people talk about Steph Curry changed the game, but a guy like Luka Doncic and James Harden have changed the game a lot as well. So, very, very good point there.
And I think this next guy is a pretty obvious one for me.
He isn't for me, and I'll explain why in a second here. Where do you got him?
I have Paul George in B.
That's where I have him too. I was worried you had him in A. And I'm gonna say this before the playoffs. I told I made a bold statement that I like Chris Middleton more than Paul George, and not that Middleton went crazy in the playoffs, but I still hold true to that point. I don't know, man. There's something about Paul George that I don't love.
I think him and Middleton are on a very similar level as of right now.
I think so. I think so too.
I think the majority of NBA fans would say they'd rather have Paul George on their team. But I just think it's because Middleton's not. I don't know. Middleton is more of a late bloomer, so maybe that's why. Wasn't a very hyped up prospect. Not a high pick like George. George was a fairly high pick.
I don't know. Middleton, look what I don't know. I don't remember what it was, but I think it was a game in which Giannis got hurt in the play. We'll talk about Middleton later, but Middleton put up like 23 and a quarter. I love Chris Middleton, but he can also, he has Giannis and some other guys on his team. But Paul George was just terrible in the playoffs. I don't know, man. I saw more shots at the side of the backboard that went in. I don't know, man.
All right. Ja Morant.
And this is a tough one because you got to compare him to who we have, and that's
right.
Tough. But we got 40 players here. I'm going C tier for Ja Morant.
I agree. I think he's C tier right now because I look and I do see some guys on here who are not quite as good as him. Mm-hmm. Now for next season, would you rather have Ja Morant or Russell Westbrook? For me, if I I have a team just like an average NBA team, I would rather have John Morant on my team than Russell Westbrook. And maybe you disagree with that, but that's where I'm at. Just for one season, and that would be next season.
It's just so tough for me because right after the Capella trade, Russ was legitimately a top 3 point guard in the league for that next month. And then boom, the coronavirus happened and Russ got hurt in the playoffs and now we are where we are. So it just, I don't know, man. It's tough. I think C is perfect.
It is tough though. It is tough. No. I can see either way.
Next guy, Giannis. I mean, we could spend all day on him. No doubt about it. Is S tier. No doubt about it. No questions.
Yeah, agreed. And I think Giannis is. I think a lot of people are kind of sleeping on him still. Personally,
I agree. I agree completely. Everybody's like, year after year, he doesn't get to an NBA Finals, which is understandably so, especially a year like this year. I mean, if there's a year that Giannis should have been in the NBA Finals, it should have been this year, in my opinion.
Giannis was absolutely before he got hurt the second time when he came back and tried to play. But when he was playing hurt, he was playing incredible in that game against Miami for the quarter or whatever he played. Mm-hmm. He was putting up ridiculous numbers, and he looked really, really good. And then that happened again. So that was unfortunate. I mean, they probably wouldn't have won the series or anything like that, but. I think he's a tremendous, tremendous player.
I want to see him win a title. That's one guy I do want to see get a title. Moving on to the next.
The next guy's easy as well.
Next guy, King James, the best player in the league, no doubt about it.
And I think one of the more interesting things that I kind of thought about, and you don't ever hear. I mean, for most people, it's not like this, but. For basically anyone in NBA history, it's never been like this. But LeBron had a quote, and I couldn't agree with it more, where he basically said, where he is at right now at age 35, this LeBron right now would dominate a 27-year-old LeBron. And it's so true, but it's so fascinating at the same time because most players at 27 are a lot more athletic. They're a lot more. They still. I mean, once they get to age 35, they're slowing down and they're not as good as when they're at 27 years old. LeBron showed no signs of that, and he's only getting better and better still.
How old is
staying?
Definitely. How old is Carmelo Anthony?
I'm not exactly sure of Carmelo's age. I would guess he's one. I think would guess he's 36 though.
Because here's what I was thinking about. Right, Carmelo's game, just the way he plays, should translate more when he ages rather than LeBron's. And the reason the reason I say that, not as a whole, because LeBron's still a great passer, can shoot the ball, but just the physical standpoint that LeBron is in is absolutely crazy. If you look at Carmelo and just kind of how his athleticism has changed over time, his quickness, everything like that, compare that to LeBron's. It's absolutely crazy.
Yeah, LeBron's been blessed with a very healthy career as well, but he takes very, very good care of his body and works extremely hard.
100%. Rudy Gobert is the next player on the list, and I don't know where to put Rudy Gobert. C tier?
I have Rudy in D.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? You think he's one of like that? I mean, I'm not gonna sit here and disagree with you. But there was times there's times watching Rudy Gobert where for the Jazz he looked like the best player on the court, but there's also times you're like, Rudy, what is going on, man? So I don't disagree with it, but I think
it could be C. We can adjust it.
I've said for the longest time that Rudy Gobert is one of the most overrated, overhyped up players in the NBA, especially on the defensive end. He doesn't compare to Anthony Davis on the defensive end. You cannot compare the two.
Yeah, no, you can't. And it's just, I think what we're kind of seeing is more people are starting to realize. I think we're going to start seeing a lot less defensive player of the years at the center position of just guys that simply protect the rim like we have in the past with the Tyson Chandlers and the Joakim Noahs of the world. Just because we have a lot of those rim protectors now are getting dragged out to the perimeter, and they're getting kind of exposed in a sense where they can't really defend the perimeter. And back just even 10 years ago,
definitely,
guys like Chandler and and Joakim Noah weren't forced to switch like they are now. The NBA is just it's just attacking a mismatched league right now.
I mean, look at the series we saw. Look at JaVale McGee, for example. How many minutes did he play? I mean, it's just it's hard to play guys.
And even
like
Dwight
that.
Howard.
Yep, it truly is. Next guy here, Donovan Mitchell, another intriguing guy for me, just because of how he balled out in the playoffs. Man, he was so tough.
He was very, very good.
I'm gonna go B. Maybe that's too
I have him
high.
in B.
I don't know.
I would have had him C before the playoffs, but there is a little bit of recency bias here. But I think just as a player as a whole, we've seen this a couple years from Mitchell in the playoffs, where maybe he does have a switch that he turns on, because man was he good. And so I'm gonna put him in B.
It's tough not to put him in B. It truly is. And all of these, obviously, you are gonna have some recency bias for like a Jamal Murray compared to Russell Westbrook. And going into the next player, Jamal Murray. I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know. Where do you guys?
Jamal's easy for me. I have him in B.
B. I was going between B and C. I mean, I don't know. It's just the Russell Westbrook thing for me. And I know a lot of people, especially in the comments, probably watching the video, are like, Russ isn't good. Listen, man, when Russ is, just go back and watch some of the games and from after the Capella trade post-COVID and tell me that Russell Westbrook for a stretch was not better than James Harden. You can't tell me that. For that 2, 3, 4 weeks, Russ Westbrook was the best player on the Houston Rockets. And that's what I'm getting caught up with. It's like, gosh, he looks so bad in the playoffs, but I don't disagree. And that's where the recency bias obviously is here, because if you're talking post-Capella trade before the bubble, Russ Westbrook for me is probably A tier. And that's the toughest part about it. But as far as Jamal Murray is concerned, was absolutely crazy in the playoffs. He took some shots that went in, and it's just like, how in the world are you hitting these types of shots? Absolutely took over at times.
And I think with Russell Westbrook, we don't really know how serious his injury actually was, because you got to remember, this guy wasn't even playing. And this guy, if he can play at all, is going to play.
Absolutely.
So it's just, it's tough with him.
It definitely is. He could be a guy next year that goes crazy, or can be a guy next year that struggles again. So we'll just see on Russ. I'm not doubting him. I'm not the one that's like, okay, you need to trade Russ and go from there. I think Russ would be just fine. Ben Simmons, another interesting one for me. I don't know. I feel like
he was pretty clear. He's pretty clear cut to me.
You got him in B?
Yeah, I have him in B.
And the part about it is, I feel like if you're, I don't know. How do you think Philadelphia fans feel about the Ben Simmons Embiid thing? I mean, because here's the thing. The Sixers team last year, who did they have? Did they have Ben Simmons? Did they have Jimmy Butler? Did they have Joel Embiid? Did they have Toby Harris last year, Nate? Or no?
Yeah.
I think they did. They had Tobias Harris. And say whatever you want about Toby Harris, but
JayCanada.
I mean, come on, man. If let's say we put Embiid where most people probably would. Let's say he's A tier. I'm not gonna say that's where we're gonna have him. A tier. Jimmy Butler's A tier. Ben Simmons is B tier. Toby, he's not gonna make this list, but he's not bad. It's like, you got these guys that can play, man. I don't know. I don't know, man.
Yeah, they did. I think just from listening to what Jimmy Butler said on the JayCanada podcast, they had all the pieces there, and I just don't think the way they played really made everyone happy. And Jimmy was the first. He said, I don't think Ben Simmons was happy with the way everything was being run, because I don't really know what exactly happened, but I just know there were some chemistry issues there. And I do know that.
I'm gonna say this: Jimmy Butler and chemistry issues are common. I'm not attacking Jimmy Butler, but it's common.
I don't think this was Jimmy's. I don't think it was Jimmy's fault on this one. I don't know whose exactly was. I lean towards Brett Brown, but like I said, I'm not sure.
And who will ever? I mean, we'll probably never know. But that Sixers team is one. If I'm a Philly fan, I'm mad, because they definitely left something out there. But Ben Simmons, he's an incredible defender. I just hope he gets a jump shot. He doesn't have to knock down 40%, but even if he could hit 33% of his threes, at least, you know, if he's wide open in a catch and shoot, maybe 35, 36, put some respect at least in the defense's eyes would make him a little more versatile. Next player here, Chris Middleton, B tier. I'm not gonna sit here and say A tier because that's a little wild, but I do think he's definitely B tier. I can't go any lower.
I think he is. I think he is too. And the thing is, I feel like we're gonna end up having a lot of players in B tier. But I really don't think there's very much separation between these guys.
There's not. Like, look at B tier, and I don't know who my favorite player is at B tier. I don't know. You know,
I would lean Simmons personally.
That's probably where I would lean. You know, after looking at him, but I don't know. It is tough.
But I'm fine with him there. I'm fine with him there though.
Next guy, Kemba Walker. I'm gonna let you lead the way because I don't want to get flamed. So I'm gonna let you lead, and I'll speak my mind about Kemba Walker.
I think Kemba's pretty clear-cut guy. Didn't have a best playoffs, but he's still I don't know how to explain. I guess Kemba's giving you more than just what he does on the court because he's one of the best leaders in the NBA. He's one of the best coaches on the floor. He's basically a Hall of Fame floor general, and so I still got to put him in C because of that. And he had a solid year. He didn't have the best playoffs, but he had a solid year.
I've never been a Kemba Walker fan ever. Okay, ever. And watching him in the playoffs, it made me kind of mad. And the reason I say this is he had so many games where it's like I feel like a guy like Brad Wanamaker would have given the Celtics more. It's just they attack Kemba Walker on the defensive end. Offensively, he's a good offensive player. I'm not gonna sit here and tell you he's not, but you know the Celtics, in my opinion, we're kind of in a similar situation to how I felt about Philly. Not to that extent, but you know, let's say Gordon Hayward stays healthy. They got Jason Tatum. They got Jaylen Brown. They got Marcus Smart. Say what you want about Marcus Smart. He is very, very good. Then they got Kemba Walker. How are you not better than you are? For me, I don't understand it. I don't get it. It's hard for me to think the Heat got, you know, I guess Dragic's good too, but they got Jimmy, Bam, Dragic, you know. The Celtics got so much talent, and I don't know, man. I'm not saying Kemba Walker is to blame, but just watching him in the playoffs, it wasn't very impressive to me.
Yeah, no, he wasn't getting the playoffs. And you make a good point because on paper the Celtics look better, but man, that Heat team was so they're just so team oriented and they're so chemistry wise engaged in just the way they come off screens and move the ball is different than any other team in the league.
No doubt about it. The only team that had any sort of answer for the Heat were the Lakers. I mean, the Heat ran through the playoffs. Like they looked so good. Not to say they ran through the playoffs because obviously teams beat them, but I mean the only team offensively that really slowed the Heat down consistently were the Lakers. You know, and it's crazy to me. Next guy, Jaylen Brown. I think he's one of the most. I like Jaylen Brown. I truly do. Now
I do too.
I don't think he's quite the level of Paul George or Chris Middleton. But I like Jaylen Brown.
I like Jaylen Brown a lot. I think he's the best player at C tier. I don't think he's B yet.
I don't disagree with that. I have him at C tier too, and I don't disagree with that. Because I'll take Jaylen Brown over Kemba Walker 10 times out of 10. No doubt.
100%.
Next guy,
100%. Especially defensively.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, he was on C. Ackerman absolutely boxed him. Next guy, Devin Booker. This is, to me, I guess I don't have much debate about this. B tier. What do you think, Nate?
I have Devin Booker in B tier as well.
I think he belongs there, you know. And if as a Timberwolves fan, I wanted him, but he's a dog, man. Devin Booker. I'm
hoping he can. I think he could become an A tier player though.
I think
very
so
easily.
Too.
I think a lot of these guys in B tier could.
Just they're all pretty, you know. Some of them are young and still, especially you know the Mitchell and Devin Bookers. I think even Jamal Murray, they have a real chance in the next year to get up there to A tier. Kristaps, I'm gonna let you lead this one because I personally, I don't know where to put him. So I'm gonna let you lead the way.
I feel bad for this guy having to get another knee surgery now. Man, I just wish he would have just had a healthy career, because the way he is built and the way his skill set is just incredible for a guy his size.
No doubt about it.
To be able to shoot and even handle the ball the way he can. But, his percentages were a little bit down. Started to turn it on as the season went on, but now he's having another knee surgery. And I think he's a pretty clear cut where he belongs right now, and that's in C tier.
That's where I had him. And I don't know enough about KP, but just his ability to stretch the floor it's ridiculous, man. And hopefully he can recover and have a good career. But it is sad to see him go through another surgery.
Definitely. And then the next guy's clear cut for me as well.
B tier.
You have Kyle Lowry in B. I have him in C.
Really, this is interesting to me. This is interesting to me, and it's.
I like him more than all the point guards at C, but I still don't think he belongs at B.
So you think he's closer to Kemba Walker than Jamal Murray?
Yes.
See, I
personally do.
I don't know if I can agree with that, and a lot of it has to do with on the defensive end. By far and away, between B and C tiers, there is no point guard that defends like Kyle Lowry. No. And that's part
there is.
Who?
There's a better defender than him.
Ben Simmons. I didn't even see Simmons there. I didn't even see Simmons there. But between Jamal Murray, let's say Jamal Murray, John Morant, Kemba Walker, nobody's defending like a Kyle Lowry, like Kyle Lowry defends. Ben Simmons obviously does. No doubt about it. Ben Simmons is a way better defender. But the thing is, for me personally, I've always loved Kyle Lowry. I always have. I mean, C tier to me is a little disrespectful, and that's just kind of how.
I don't think it is. I think C's fine. I think he's got a similar. I think he's a similar level of player as Jaylen Brown.
But Kyle Lowry has proved so much more in his career than Jaylen Brown.
Well, yeah, he's older. Of course he has.
But that's what I'm saying. He's proved it year after year and year.
Just like Russell Westbrook has proved a lot more than John Morant has, but they're both in C tier.
Yeah, but is Kyle Lowry fell off like Russell Westbrook or had a terrible performance in the playoffs? No, Kyle Lowry's a dog.
Yeah, he did. When he was young, he did.
Yeah, but look what he did last year. Look what he did last year when everybody was like, playoff Lowry, playoff Lowry, playoff Lowry. And then in the NBA Finals, he had like 15 points in one of the first quarters. I know it's a small sample size, but there's nothing wrong with Kyle Lowry, man. Look, I love Kyle Lowry.
No, there's nothing wrong with him.
I can put him at C, but in my opinion, by far the best point guard at C, and it's not even close.
Put him wherever you want. Go ahead and put him wherever you want.
It's not even close. Kyle Lowry's B tier for me. I think he's way closer to Jamal Murray than a guy like Kemba Walker.
What about Kevin Durant?
I can't put him not in S tier.
Easy S.
Yeah, I can't put him not in S tier. Yeah, although he didn't play last year, I mean, he is an easy S. He is a bucket getter. Siakam is an interesting one for me. He's interesting. B tier? I don't know.
I'm struggling with Siakam too. Oh my gosh, he was terrible in the playoffs.
I think he belongs in B tier though. I don't know where else I can put him. I mean, I would put him B or C. I would put him lowest at B or highest at C. Who do you think's better, Kyle Lowry or Pascal Siakam?
I don't know. I want to say.
And here's my.
It's one playoffs though, because Siakam was their best player.
Here's my thing about it. Here's my thing about the Raptors. Here's my thing about.
Was he? I don't know.
I think both Siakam and Lowry belong in B, but if you wanted to make the case both C, I think you can. I definitely think you can. But I'm gonna go. I like the Raptors as a whole, so I'm gonna go B with them. You know, did they lose to the Celtics? They got beat by in the playoffs, Nate?
Yeah.
So it wasn't. I think they went to 7 games. So they lost to the Celtics.
Correct.
I think in 7 games, and that was with Siakam playing that badly. And so In my opinion, at least one of them belongs in B tier. Because if you got the Celtics, you got Kemba Walker, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum. You got all these pieces. And for the Raptors, I mean, who do you got? Obviously, Fred VanVleet's a great player, but I think the Raptors players, need just a little bit more respect. Now, Jaylen Brown, obviously, I think you could make the case that he is B tier. I don't know. Like I said, with the Raptors players, I think you could go C tier. Klay Thompson, I don't know, man. A tier?
I think Klay's easy.
A?
Ooh, you think A?
I don't know.
You think
man.
A? I have him in B.
In D?
Yeah, I have him in B.
Oh, I thought you said D.
No, B.
I don't.
He's so efficient. It's crazy.
And it's like he's a very good defender. He's a very good defender too. It's like, I don't know. For me personally, it's tough because you can plug Klay into any team and he's gonna fit. Obviously, the Warriors scheme fits Klay well, but I don't know. I think I don't have a problem with B tier just because of the unknowns more than anything. But if Klay can get back to where he was, I think he's A tier. Does that make sense?
Right. Yeah. No, I agree. But yeah. I'm fine either way, to be honest. I'm fine either way.
I'll move him down to B just because of the unknowns and because I got my, both of my Raptors players are B tier. But just if Klay comes back, where he needs to be, I think he'll be an A tier player. Zach Lavine is next, and I don't know. Where do you guys Zach Lavine? I'll let you lead the way. I did not watch the Chicago Bulls much this year. I know Zach Lavine's a bucket, but
yeah, Lavine had a career season this year. Even from a percentage standpoint, he was very, very good, and from a effective field goal percentage, the best year of his career. But I don't know. I'm still gonna put him in C for now. Oh, I feel like he's still similar to Jaylen Brown. Maybe, obviously, offensively he's a little bit better, but Jaylen Brown defensively gives you a lot more. So
definitely agree.
I think D. And we haven't seen Lavine in the playoffs, so it's just I feel like it's kind of tough.
And it's tough because he's on the Chicago Bulls. So I mean, it's if you have a bad team, it's hard. That's all I'm going to say. It's hard to really showcase how good you can be, and so hopefully Lavine can get it done in Chicago at some point, but we'll have to see. Next player, Big Cat, no question about it for me. Where he belongs.
Wait, you have Cat? I have Brandon Ingram.
Do you have Cat on your thing?
Yeah. I can go to Cat.
Yeah, go grab him, and then I got Ingram next. No question about it for me.
All right, I know where I have Cat.
A?
Where do you have him? I have him in B. Hello?
I'm just a little bit confused.
What are you confused about?
Do you think Cat's a top 15 player?
Yes.
Okay, so who are you taking over Cat at B tier? That's my biggest question.
Probably no one. But I think he is the best player at B. I think he's more on a Simmons or Booker level than a Jimmy Butler level right now.
The thing for Cat for me is, I get he a lot of people are like, yeah, he hasn't won, he hasn't done anything in the playoffs, this and that. Okay, take a moment and watch the Minnesota Timberwolves. Now watch Jeff Teague dribble the ball 95 times in possession. Watch Andrew Wiggins shoot 20 to 25 shots a game. It's so frustrating as a Timberwolves fan, and I'm sure Cat's frustrated. He is by far the most efficient shooting big I've ever seen. Shooting 40% from three consistently, bringing the ball up the court. I get on the defensive end, he leaves a little bit to be desired, but my lord, what more does he have to do?
No, he's very good, but it's just, I mean, look at the guys in B are very, very good players as well, and I think he's the best player at B. But what we saw with Jimmy Butler is we saw him be the best player on a team that made the finals and perform very, very good in the finals. And I just think Jimmy Butler is that one step ahead.
It's going to be interesting how many people you have at B tier. We'll move Cat down, but I'm going to be intrigued when we get to some other players where you have them. Brandon Ingram, for me, Where do you have Brandon Ingram, bro? I don't.
I like Brandon Ingram. I like Brandon Ingram a lot. I think he's one of the more slept-on players in the league. But I think he's a clear-cut C still. But I just feel like no one talks about Brandon Ingram.
I mean,
I feel like I don't feel like he's that far away from being a Jason Tatum type player.
But the problem is, until the Pelicans win, I'm tired of hearing Brandon Ingram, even Drew Holiday, Zion Williamson. I get there's injuries, but if they're all good, if they're all top players.
Their problem is their defense. The same thing with Ingram. That's where Tatum's a lot better defender than Brandon Ingram.
That's the thing.
But I'm just saying from a prospect standpoint, I think Brandon Ingram is slept on.
Sabonis, I don't. D maybe, I don't know. He made an All-Star.
I don't know either. He did. I feel like he's D though.
I do too.
I feel like he's D.
Vooch,
I like Sabonis.
I mean, I don't
feel like his game.
I
feel like Sabonis's game is just it makes it so hard to. It's going to be hard for Sabonis to be on a championship contending team.
I agree, 100%. Because
he's going to be getting paid. He's going to get paid by a team, regardless of where he's at, and that's going to limit salary from to get another couple stars or whatever. And to run an offense to him is just so hard.
Same thing with the next guy. Yeah, I like.
Same thing with Vucevic.
I mean,
I gotta put him in D.
They're so limited, man, and they're not limited into the ability that like they're not good offensively. They are limited. They really are. Trae Young, clear cut for me, no doubt about it. Where Trae Young belongs.
Let me think about this for a sec.
I think it's clear as day.
I know where I'm putting him.
C tier?
I have him in C.
Yep, absolutely. No doubt about it. I think if you look at this point guards at C tier, he belongs right with them.
He's gotta get better on the defensive end. And you hope his efficiency eventually picks up. A lot of it isn't. He doesn't really have much around him. So we'll see. He's still really young. The B and C tier is it's definitely
just the way.
There's just so many good players.
Just the way people have to defend Trae Young. I feel like at the least you have to put him at C tier. As far as a person that gets similar attention to James Harden, it's Trae Young. I don't know if there's any player that gets off of pick and rolls or whatever gets more attention than Trae Young outside of James Harden. And that's just kind of from me watching the Hawks a little. And a lot of it is because the Hawks don't have a lot around him. And so people are willing to send more bodies. But he gets so much defensive attention.
Nice guy, Bradley Beal.
He's tough for me.
Feels very, very tough for me as well.
I'm going to go B tier. I'm going to go B tier, but he's on the upper end.
Feel like if he's in B though, what's the difference between him and Trae Young?
I feel like Trae Young's ability to defend. I mean, a lot of it comes from his size. For Bradley Beal, I feel like if he's on a winning team, I feel like I don't know. In my opinion, Bradley Beal isn't the worst player at B tier.
Who is?
It's hard to say, but if you pull up Bradley Beal's stat lines this year, he was incredible, man.
Statistically is better. Neither of them are good defenders.
I mean, what is the biggest difference between Bradley Beal and Devin Booker to you?
Booker. For me personally, it was just Booker would be in C, but except the way he performed in the bubble pushed him to B.
And that's fair enough, but I don't know. I was going into the bubble saying Bradley Beal is better than Devin Booker. That's kind of my whole thing behind it, and I think they're pretty comparable.
I thought they were comparable, but I guess when Booker, the way he performed in the bubble and really turned it on, I think kind of turned him up or put him ahead of Beal for me.
Also, I'll say this: I think Bradley Beal is definitely closer to Devin Booker level than a Zach LaVine level. Do you disagree?
I don't know. I think it's.
I
like all three of them. So.
I like Bradley Beal. I like him in B tier. So
I just feel like if he's in B, then Trae Young. I think Trae Young gives you more offensively.
But they're different.
Granted, Beal's a little bit better defender.
They're just different because no, you can't really.
They are.
Beal's
but,
not a great
but
defender.
a better offensive player.
But yes, but that's like saying for anybody, you know, let's throw Devin Booker's a better offensive player than Jimmy Butler, you know, or you know Bradley Beal's a better offensive player. Yeah, but there's a difference
because one of them's a lot better than the other defensively.
And Trae Young is a lot worse than anybody in the NBA on the defensive end. Bradley Beal can hold his own at least somewhat.
Bradley Beal
he's
Beal
6'5". Is he not 6'5"? He is 6'5". He can at least hold his own. Trae Young is. Listen, it's Trae Young is awful on the defense, man. Bradley Beal is not good, but he is not Trae Young level bad.
Put him where you want him.
I will. He's D tier. Victor Oladipo, I have no hesitation. D tier.
D tier for me as well. I think right now he's the worst player at D tier. Hopefully, you know, he can really turn it on and have a bounce back season. We're somewhere other than Indiana because I'm like 99.9% sure he's not going to be back in Indiana.
I'm so mad Drew Holiday's not on this list. Steph Curry, I don't have a question about it. He's S tier to me, personally.
Yep. I have him in S as well. Easy S for me.
De'Aaron Fox. C tier?
I have Fox in D.
Really?
I like Fox. I like Fox too, but I have him in D. I think when you look at the guys in D, I don't even know if he is the best player.
I think he's the best in D. I mean, you can.
Sabonis is good. Gobert is really good for being a D tier. I mean, all these guys in D are good. Yeah. But I just think when you compare him to a Zach LaVine, he's not as good. He's not as good as. I mean, look at the guy. He's not even on Trae Young's level, at even close. Not on Jaylen Brown's level.
I think
it's
closer than you think. I think it's closer than you think when you compare Fox and a guy like Kemba Walker, Trae Young. I think it's personally closer than you think. That's all.
No, it's not. Stop it.
I like Fox. I think it is. I think it's close.
Respect.
I think it's close. Damian Lillard. This is the
Lillard's easy.
Are you going
S tier? Is he not easy for me? No.
A tier?
I would never. Yeah. Damian Lillard can't be the best player in the championship team.
I had him at A tier too. I disagree with that statement though.
Okay, but I guess if you put Jimmy Butler and Damian Lillard on the same team, that team could be tough. I'm just
saying if you give Damian Lillard like let's say Anthony Davis type player, I mean, then it changes.
That team's not winning a champ. No,
I'm not saying it is. I don't think Anthony Davis with any other superstar in the league outside of LeBron is winning a championship. But that's what
Yes, he is. What?
You're telling me
AD could win a championship with anyone else in S, potentially.
I'm not saying they can't. I'm saying this year specifically, if you take LeBron off of that team and plug Kawhi Leonard and then LeBron on the Clippers, who's winning the championship? I'm thinking the Clippers. That's what I mean.
Well, probably.
That's what I'm saying as far as obviously if you put AD on the Clippers this year, if you put AD on let's say, you know, the Mavericks or the teams like that, the Bucks, I think they're going to win a championship, but I just, that's what I meant by that statement.
All right, let's move on. Jokic is easy for me.
B.
I have him in B. I have him and Cat. Same level.
You can't separate them. I don't care what anybody says. You can't. If you do, it's recency bias. Because here's the thing. Jokic at the start of this year wasn't even in the debate with Cat and Embiid. He wasn't. Pull up anything from like the first 2 months of the season. He wasn't. He was out of condition. I think he gained a bunch of weight. He definitely looked like it. Was slow. He turned it on in the playoffs, but you don't know how players are gonna get. And he balled out in the playoffs though. So I think obviously he's on a very similar level to Cat. Kyrie Irving.
Yeah, and I think Jokic could potentially I don't know. He could potentially emerge as the best center in the league just because after he lost that weight, man, he was tough.
He was nice. He was in the playoffs. He was nice.
We've seen it from Bam, and we've seen it from Cat as well. Just the center's ability to play make. But Jokic is obviously the best at it right now, and Bam's a close second. But the ability for centers to play make is just it adds a whole nother dimension.
It definitely is. Kyrie Irving. B.
I have Kyrie in A. No, A. Is he A? He is A. He is so talented, and he is statistically one of the. If you look at Kyrie statistically, he is so good. And I think I think I gotta put him in A still. I think Kyrie's an A tier player. I think he's gonna show it in Brooklyn, too.
I mean, we'll see.
Him and KD is gonna be a good combination.
We'll see.
It's so hard. This is why it's hard for me, right? Because I know how good Kyrie is. He is so talented. He's so efficient with his talent too. He's a great. He can do everything, but just we saw in Boston what happened. I don't know. I don't know if I want to take points away from him as a teammate. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know, man. That Boston team was so good, man. I could put him in A. We'll see next year. A lot of this is just, you know, especially with players that didn't play, like the Clay, the Kyrie, the KD. We'll see. I mean, we will see. We saw how good Kyrie can be, but we've also seen it kind of be a bad situation with him. Embiid, no doubt about it, B tier for me.
Agreed. Embiid played decent in the playoffs this year too.
He definitely did, but it just goes to show you, centers cannot be. I can't say they can't be the best player, but they.
I like this. I've been saying this for years.
Guards run the league, man.
It's a guard-run league, and it always will be.
It's not necessarily a guard, but a guy has to be able to go get you a bucket. And how many centers can go get a bucket? No, I mean, let's be real. Center, you can't really go get a bucket as a center. Post-ups are getting to the point where it's kind of outdated in a sense. Now, we saw Philly obviously implement it, and that's the problem with Embiid is because he's a post-up player. But it's a guard league. It definitely is, and we've seen it time and time again.
Then we got Bam.
Bam's is interesting for me. C tier? Or do you want to go B?
Let me think.
I don't have a problem with either one. The only thing I'm going to say about it is Bam was very good.
I have Bam in C. I have
him in C too. And it's nothing. I'm not taking anything away from Bam, but we saw the lack of shooting ability against the Lakers. It was. If you watch Game 6, it was crazy. Anthony Davis sat paint the entire game, and it killed the Heat. It killed them.
But C is not disrespectful because coming into the playoffs, Bam would probably be D on this list.
Yeah, absolutely.
But you saw, and Bam's only going to get better. So he could become the best center in the league potentially. Mm-hmm. But Bam. And D'Angelo Russell said this. He said that Bam is, if he could play with any young player in the league, he would play with Bam because he said that's the way the NBA is trending towards these small ball centers who can guard anyone. That's what Bam is, and that's so invaluable.
Bam defensively is incredible. He truly.
But you're right. He did hurt him offensively at times, especially in the finals. Because of his ability not to shoot into Anthony Davis could paint sit. The
big thing is, at least with Embiid, Jokic, and even AD, they can knock down the occasional three. Bam can't right now. I mean, he can't, you know. Jason Tatum, no doubt about it, where he belongs for me, B tier. I do think he's on the upper end of B tier. But
yeah, I think he's B for sure.
I can't go any higher. He has the potential to be everything and more.
I mean, in my opinion, if you move him up, you got to move Ben Simmons up as well.
I agree.
And Cat up. Yeah. And then you got to move Jokic up. I mean, Embiid, in my opinion, Jokic and Cat are above him.
I agree.
And Embiid.
Chris Paul. C or B? Where are you going? B?
Wherever you got Kyle Lowry. If you got Kyle Lowry in B, you got to put Chris Paul in there because I think Chris Paul is better than Kyle Lowry.
I don't know about all that, but I think he's B tier. I'm not going to disagree with the statement, but because Chris Paul, I just keep expecting Chris Paul to eventually, get to a point. I don't know how old he is. He might not be that old, but he's reliable, man. And we saw what he did with OKC this year. He's good, man.
Mm-hmm. Very, very good.
AD, no question about it for me. He's proved me. Hey, AD, you did your thing, man. You got him in S.
Where you got him? I have him in S.
No doubt about it. I mean, from what I've seen on the defensive end, he is the best defensive player in the league. maybe Giannis can give him some, you know.
No,
I don't know, man.
Giannis can't.
AD is
the best defender in the league.
He's tough.
100%.
Let me tell you, he is very, very tough on the defensive end. So, I mean, we got a lot of players at S tier, but I think there's a pretty clear cutoff point. I don't think anybody at S tier you can move.
Right. And the only one that I think it's true, and then, you know, we got a very, very small A tier, but I think those guys kind of stand out above the guys in B. And then B we got a ton, but I think there's a lot of guys in B that still that don't make it to A for whatever reason.
Definitely.
All the variety of reasons.
Definitely. I agree.
I think within B there's a lot of talent difference. Maybe.
Who's your highest and lowest at B?
My highest at B would be I would say Jokic right now.
Who's your lowest?
Jokic. I think I take Jokic a smidge over Cat now. Then my lowest at B would be
Lowry. B.
Yeah, you have Lowry there, but I didn't even put him there. I would say for me, Siakam or Jamal Murray, maybe. I don't know. It's so hard with Jamal Murray and Mitchell. I would say Jamal Murray. But it's tough because Murray played so good in the playoffs.
Did you put Beal at C?
No, I had Beal and B. So maybe Beal too.
Gotcha. But I mean, overall, I feel like this tier list. If you guys destroy this tier list in the comments, I don't know what else I can do, man. I don't know. I don't know. Who do you think we are gonna get the most criticism for on this tier list? If you had to guess. Bam,
maybe.
I don't know.
I don't think it'll be Bam. I'm not sure who it'll be though, to be honest.
Hey man, I promise you, they're gonna find something. I promise you.
They are.
They're gonna find something.
Yeah, I'm not. Oh, I think it'll be Chris Middleton in B probably. I have no problem with Middleton in B though.
Hey, do me a favor before y'all bash us. Look up the stats of the players, the efficiency, everything like that. But drop your comments below, kind of on your thoughts on this tier list. Who would you guys had lower, higher? Who you guys have had lower? Drop those comments down below. I hope you guys do enjoy this video. Drop a like on the video. Subscribe if you are new. And as always, man, I love you guys and have a blessed day.